When you really stop and think about it, basically every important thing you do all day runs on a slab of purified sand. That's not me being dramatic. The phone in your pocket, the car you drive, the hospital machine that might one day keep you alive, all of it comes down to billions of impossibly tiny switches flicking on and off inside a piece of silicon. And this week, IBM just did something with those switches that a lot of very smart people genuinely thought was impossible. They built a chip with features smaller than 1 nanometer, the world's first. And honestly, the more I dug into how they pulled it off, the more excited I got, which is exactly why I want to walk you through the whole thing today. Quick thing before we get into it, if you like having the big tech news actually explained instead of just thrown at you in headlines, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now while you're thinking about it. This channel is built for exactly this kind of stuff, and I'd love to have you around for the next one. Okay, let's get into what IBM actually announced, because it's wild. So what did IBM actually announce? So here's the headline. On June 25th, 2026, IBM unveiled what it's calling the world's first sub-1 nanometer chip technology. The official number is 0.7 nanometers, which the industry also writes as 7 angstroms. An angstrom, if you've never had a reason to care about one before, is 1/10 of a nanometer. We are now measuring chip generations in units that describe the spacing of individual atoms. Let that sink in for a second. We've gone from how many transistors fit on a chip to how many atoms wide is the gap. That's the territory we're playing in now. And the raw stat that made my jaw drop is this. IBM packed nearly 100 billion transistors onto a chip roughly the size of your fingernail. 100 billion. On something you could lose in your couch cushions. To give you a sense of scale here, IBM's own researchers pointed out that a single human red blood cell is about 7,000 nanometers wide, which makes it something like 10,000 times bigger than one of these new transistor nodes. We are building functional electronics at a scale where a blood cell looks like a skyscraper. This is the first time in human history anyone has put that many transistors into a space that small, and that's not marketing language, that's just where we are. Now I want to give you my honest take right up front because I think it matters. We have been hearing for over a decade that chip scaling is dead, that Moore's law hit a wall, that physics simply won't let us shrink things any further. And I'll admit, I kind of believed it. So watching IBM not just nudge past that wall, but basically build a ladder over it is the kind of thing that makes me really optimistic about the next 10 years of technology. This is good news, full stop, how they pulled it off. The Nanostack. Let's talk about how they actually did it, because this is the genuinely clever part. For years, the entire game in chip making was shrinking. You take a transistor, you make it a little smaller, you cram a few more onto the chip, repeat every couple of years. But transistors got so tiny that quantum mechanics started literally interfering with how they work. At a few dozen nanometers, electrons start doing weird quantum things, and your nice reliable switch stops being reliable. You hit the floor, you can't go flatter, so IBM did what city planners do when they run out of land. They built up. Their new design is called Nanostack. And instead of laying transistors out flat on a single plane and shrinking the gaps, it stacks and staggers them vertically in 3 dimensions. Think of it like the difference between a sprawling one-story neighborhood and a dense high-rise apartment block. Same footprint on the ground, way more living space once you go vertical. IBM describes Nanostack as the industry's first 3-dimensional nanosheet-based transistor architecture, and it builds directly on the nanosheet technology that IBM itself pioneered. The same gate-all-around approach that Samsung, Intel, and TSMC all use in their cutting-edge chips today. Here's a detail I loved. Inside one of these transistors, the channel that the electrons actually flow through is made of 3 nanosheets, and each of those sheets is just 15 atoms thick. 15. They're spaced about 9 nanometers apart. We are now engineering on purpose, with precision down to a stack of atoms you could almost count on your fingers, if your fingers were a few thousand times smaller. The way they pull this off is by building 2 wafers separately and then bonding them together with an ultra-thin layer of insulating material, kind of like gluing 2 sandwiches into one taller sandwich. And because each layer is built on its own, each one can use a completely different material for its channel. That means engineers can tune the performance and power of each transistor independently of the others, which is something you just couldn't do when everything had to sit flat on the same slab. What all that power actually buys you. So what does all that actually buy you? Real performance, that's what a. According to IBM's published technical results, the new chip is projected to deliver up to 50% more performance, or alternatively up to 70% better energy efficiency compared to their 2 nanometer chip from back in 2021. And the density is roughly double. That energy efficiency number is the one I'd circle in red, honestly, because the elephant in the room right now is AI. These massive AI models are absolutely starving for compute, and they burn through electricity like it's going out of style. A chip that can do dramatically more work using a fraction of the power isn't just a nice spec bump. It's the kind of thing that could genuinely change the math on whether running these giant models stays sustainable. There's another piece of this that's easy to skip past but really shouldn't be. At the VLSI 2026 Symposium, IBM showed that Nanostack delivers about 40% scaling in SRAM. Now, SRAM is the fast-on-chip memory that sits right next to the processor, and it has been stubbornly resisting shrinking for years now. It just refused to get smaller alongside everything else. So cracking 40% there is a quietly huge deal, especially because, again, AI workloads are incredibly memory hungry. They need to move enormous amounts of data fast, and memory that won't shrink has been a real bottleneck. IBM also stressed that this isn't just a simulation or a pretty diagram. They validated the architecture through actual dielectric bonding and CMOS integration and built a working CMOS inverter, which is the basic building block of all digital logic. In plain English, they proved this thing can physically be built and that it can actually switch and compute. It's real, the honest reality check. Now, I want to be straight with you about something because I think a good channel respects your intelligence. That 0.7 nanometer name is, in the modern era, basically a marketing label. It does not mean any single feature on the chip is literally 0.7 nanometers across. The whole industry left behind the days when the node name matched a real physical measurement quite a while ago. These days, a node name just describes a generation of manufacturing technology and roughly tracks improvements in density and performance. IBM is open about this, and so are the experts covering it. So when you hear 0.7 nanometer, read it as the next big generation, not as a ruler reading. I'd rather tell you that than let you think a transistor is the width of a few atoms, when the reality is a little more nuanced. The other dose of reality is timing. You are not going to find a Nanostack chip in your laptop next Christmas. IBM, interestingly, doesn't actually manufacture commercial logic chips at volume itself. What it does is pioneer these architectures and then license the know-how to the big foundries like Samsung, Intel, and TSMC, plus partners like Japan's Rapidus. IBM's own director of research, Jay Gambetta, said the company isn't even disclosing yet exactly how it'll commercialize Nanostack, and that the near-term focus is helping partners scale today's 2 nanometer technology. IBM pegs the earliest realistic path to production at around 5 years out. And for a reality check, remember that their 2 nanometer chip was unveiled back in 2021 and is only now approaching real volume production. So patience is the name of the game here, but the door is open. And that's what this announcement really is. It's proof the road keeps going. Why this has me so optimistic? I think the line that summed it up best came from Hoyming, a VP on IBM's Silicon team who's been in the industry for over 20 years. He basically said that during his whole career, he's heard again and again that scaling is reaching its limits. And what he's learned is that progress doesn't stop. It just demands a new paradigm. And I find that genuinely inspiring. Every few years, we declare the end of the road, and every few years, someone clever enough refuses to accept it and finds a way to build upward instead of outward. IBM is now projecting at least another full decade of scaling ahead because of this. A decade when a lot of people were ready to write the obituary. So where does that leave us? With the comforting reminder that the future of computing isn't running out of room, it's just changing shape. The smartphones, the AI, the medical tech, the stuff we haven't even imagined yet, all of it just got a fresh runway. And IBM, a company that's been doing this since the 1960s, just proved the atomic era of chip making is only getting started, just like our popularity. And if you got something out of this, smash that like button. It genuinely helps the channel more than you'd think. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time, because I'll be right here breaking down the next big leap the moment it lands. Catch you in the next one!